What is up YouTube, Zaras here with a brand new video. Now as promised, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions on the HCS Pro League Qualification LAN of 2016. This is an 8-team tournament where the top 4 teams of this whole entire tournament will qualify for the HCS Pro League, so that's every team's goal in this situation. With the exception of CLG and EG, which are currently the only 2 teams that are qualified for the HCS Pro League, this tournament is going to have a lot of the top teams competing for this for the qualification of the HCS Pro League. Basically, how I'm going to give you guys my predictions is by breaking down all the matches that are going to be happening in this whole entire tournament. Since there's not that many teams, there's not going to be that many matches, so I'll break down each match from what I think is going to be happening. Now for Group A, you have Enigma 6 going up against Denial and Renegades going up against Optic Gaming, and then the winner of those 2 matches will face each other in the finals of that group. And then for Group B, you have Allegiance going up against Soul Red, and Envy going up against Team Liquid, and the winners of those 2 series will face each other in the finals. Luckily for the teams who need to warm up to start getting red hot in the tournament, there is a losers bracket in this tournament, so this is great for all of those teams. Now when you look at Enigma 6 versus Denial, which is probably going to be the first match that's going to be streamed, in my opinion it's probably not going to be that hard of a match for Denial to win. From what I've seen from Enigma 6, they're a very disorganized team. Although there's a lot of talent on this roster, things just aren't really clicking for this team. They seem very disorganized. They argue a little bit too much, in my opinion, for a team that's supposed to be healthy. And, it just doesn't seem like they're going to put up much of a fight against Denial. Something tells me that they're just going to, clash against each other, and something bad's going to happen for the team. Denial's just going to be able to pull through. So I definitely see a victory for Denial in this series, and they'll move on the finals, the final match of their group. Now, when you look at Renegades versus Optic, I would think that this match would be an extremely competitive match considering the talent that's on both teams. But from what I've seen, Renegades doesn't really put up much of a fight against Optic in most situations. I don't know if it's because sometimes they just have an off night or something, but from what I've seen, Renegades really does not know how to beat Optic just yet. Maybe they've been working on some strategies in the past few days, preparing for this tournament, but as far as what I've seen, Optic Gaming just seems like an overall stronger team against Renegades, so I definitely see them taking that match. Now the third match that will probably be played is going to be Allegiance going up against Soul Red. Allegiance, in my opinion, seems like they have a little bit more experience and talent on their roster compared to Soul Red. Therefore, I do see them narrowly taking down this team. Soul Red, in my opinion, is a very talented team, but I honestly don't feel like they have the experience necessary to really take down this team. So I definitely see Allegiance coming out with a narrow victory in this match and moving on to the finals. Now, the last match of the Group B semifinals is going to be Envy and Team Liquid, which in my opinion is probably going to be the most exciting match in this entire series. Both of these teams really match out against each other very well. Both of them seem to struggle on the same things when it comes to communication and really just clutching up in those important situations. So I'm definitely going to be expecting both teams to be making a lot of the same mistakes, which is going to be funny for me to see. But overall, I think this is going to be a very, very close match, since both of these teams are at the same level when it comes to both, talent, skill, and experience. So I definitely think that, both teams are going to be giving it their all. It's going to be super close. But if I had to guess who's going to win, I would say Team Liquid would narrowly win, specifically because of what Spartan can really do when it comes to those clutch situations. I've said in the past that he's a very, very young leader. He's in my opinion, he's just a natural leader for any team. He's very good when it comes to communication and performance, which makes a perfect combination for a leader, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure most of the people would agree with me in that area. So I definitely see Spartan really pulling through for Team Liquid in those clutch situations where they're most important. So I definitely see Team Liquid just narrowly beating Envy, moving on to the finals of Group B. Now for the losers bracket of Group A, I'm predicting that it's going to be Enigma 6 going up against Renegades. In that match, I see Renegades pulling through in the series. Probably, like, if I had to guess, if it's a best of 5, maybe like 3-1, something like that. It's probably not going to be very close, in my opinion, because of just how disorganized Enigma 6 is. So I definitely see Renegades pulling through in that match. In the Group B losers bracket match, I predict that it's going to be Soul Red going up against Envy. And in that series, I kind of see Envy pulling through in this match, just because of the fact that Envy is a little bit more experienced. Actually, for the same reason why I believe Allegiance could take out Soul Red. just because, you know, this team just has more experience than compared to Soul Red, and the talent's kind of on the same level. So I could see Envy really pulling through and just being able to beat them. I'd say relatively easy if you ask me. Now for the winners bracket finals of Group A, I predict that it's going to be Denial going up against Optic Gaming. And I have not seen Denial scrim Optic Gaming just yet. I don't know if they've scrimmed each other in the past. They probably have, and I just missed the scrim. But if you ask me, I would say that Optic Gaming should be able to take down Denial just because of the slaying talent that's on this Optic Gaming team. You know, the amount of slaying power that they have with straight six just unbelievable. I wouldn't even think that they'd be as good as they are right now when it comes to slaying just because they had straight six, but it just goes to show how much slaying power he could really bring to a team. So I definitely see Optic Gaming being able to outslay Denial in a lot of situations. Objectively is another completely different story. I don't know if Optic Gaming can really pull through an objective. I know their CTF on Truth is very, very solid. I've seen them beat pretty much every team on it except CLG, so I think that they could be able to beat them in a lot of close game objective situations. But I think if Denial does something different and unique that Optic Gaming is not prepared for, I think Optic Gaming is going to really collapse if you ask me. But that's if Denial actually does something that's completely like out of this world and completely unique that Optic Gaming is not prepared for. I'm pretty sure Optic Gaming is going to come in prepared for anything if you ask me. There's a lot of eyes on Optic Gaming, and I know there's a lot of pressure on their Maniac, and I'm pretty sure he's looked at every single possible way this team could, or every single possible way that Optic Gaming could lose. He's looked at all of their weaknesses and he's analyzed all of them, and I'm pretty sure he's talked to everybody about what they need to work on to be as strong as possible. So I think they're going to be prepared for pretty much anything. So I really don't see Denial really doing anything that could really throw off Optic Gaming. So I see the Optic Gaming being able to narrowly pull through in the series. Now in the winners bracket finals, it's going to be, or I predict it's going to be Allegiance going up against Team Liquid. In this series, I think that Allegiance could pull through just because Team Liquid's a little bit too disorganized, I think, going up against Allegiance. Allegiance, from what I've seen, looks very organized, and they seem to, you know, have everything down packed when it comes to just slaying an objective. And although I do not think they're going to be they're going to be the best team this season or as good as they were last season, I think they're a lot more prepared for this tournament compared to a lot of the other teams going into this tournament. So I think that they could beat Team Liquid relatively easy if you ask me. Team Liquid seems to be like one of those teams that seems very disorganized, a lot to work on, and I don't know if they've improved on a lot of the things that they've shown weakness in the past. So from what I've seen from Team Liquid's performance in the past few days, it seems like Allegiance should be able to beat Team Liquid. Now in the Group A finals, I predict that it's going to be Optic Gaming having a rematch against Renegades that they would have in the semifinals. Like I said before, Optic Gaming just seems like it's a much stronger team than Renegades. Just because of like slaying power, objective, and everything. They just seem to be able to outperform Renegades in a lot more situations than they should in my eyes. Renegades, looking at the roster overall, you know, they have like the slaying power and the overall talent to really take on Optic Gaming, but they haven't really been able to prove that they can beat them just yet. And I think that's going to hold that's just going to be a huge cloud on their heads that just makes them nervous having to face this team, and you know, they're going to be scared. They're probably just going to choke in the end, if you ask me. And although they can beat Optic Gaming, I just don't think they're going to be able to pull through. And I definitely see Optic Gaming just being able to beat Renegades once again and to move on to the grand finals. Now for the Group A finals, I predicted that it's going to be Allegiance going up against Envy. Now in this series, it may be a little bit different. It actually may be very different depending on how Envy does. Just because, like I said, when Envy goes up against Team Liquid, it seems like to be a very close match, and both of these teams seem to be on the same level. But I have not seen Envy play against Allegiance, and I've never seen them play. These two new rosters, I've never seen them play against each other, so I really don't know how these two teams are going to match up. You know, all because you do well against one team doesn't mean you're going to do well against another team, especially when your roster just goes crazy all the time with all the players, you know, their abilities just changing all the time. And Envy's definitely one of those teams where I can't really predict how good their slaying power is going to be just yet. So I really do not know. If Envy does really, really good, I do think they could take on Allegiance. I do believe the players on their team are at this level where they could really take on any team. But it just depends on how Envy clicks as a team. You know, the Envy definitely has a lot of trouble, you know, clutching up in a lot of important situations. and going up against Allegiance, which I believe is definitely one of the more prepared teams going for this competing in this tournament. I don't know if Envy performing at their normal level is going to be able to beat Allegiance. I do believe that they're going to have to play at another level to really beat Allegiance, which I believe they're capable of doing, but they haven't proven it just yet. So I see Allegiance being able to beat Envy in the series and move on to the Grand Finals. Now, I predict in the Grand Finals match it's going to be Optic Gaming going up against Allegiance, and this is actually going to be a very interesting series for me to watch, because I do not know how good these teams really mesh together. I've never seen them play before. But if you ask me, Optic Gaming does have more talent than Allegiance does when it comes to slaying power. Objective, I do not know how Optic Gaming could really do against Allegiance, but I have seen how Optic Gaming could really beat a lot of teams in Objective if they're playing at a top level, which they have been the past few days. For the past few days, Optic Gaming's been looking red hot against almost every team except CLG, which CLG looks like they've been able to kind of dismantle them yesterday in scrims. They've been able to get to their heads in a lot of situations where I didn't think they'd be able to, just because Optic Gaming seems to be able to beat a lot of teams in. Yeah, CLG's been able to do that. But in most situations, Optic Gaming seems that they're able to outplay almost any team in almost any situation, which is a very good sign going up into this match. Allegiance, I do not know if they could really take on Optic Gaming. Like I said, I think it's going to be the same thing. They're going to have the same game plan like the Nile has if they want to beat Optic, where they're just going to have to come up with something completely unique and completely out of this world that's going to throw off Optic and throw off their mindset and just get them confused. Because if you do throw off this Optic Gaming team and force them to play a little bit uncomfortably, Optic Gaming does have a high chance of just choking, getting frustrated, getting emotional, and just losing the game or giving up the game, which Optic Gaming has done in the past. They've given up a lot of huge leads, and they've lost a lot of questionable matches where for just the sheer fact that the players get emotional. Maniac's one of those emotional players. So, in order for this, in my eyes, in order for Allegiance to beat Optic Gaming, Allegiance is going to have to do something completely unique that Optic Gaming's not prepared for. But like I said, when I was predicting the match against Denal and Optic, Optic Gaming's definitely prepared for this tournament. They definitely believe that they have the talent to really win in this tournament going up against these teams. So, I do believe that Optic Gaming is going to be extremely prepared for anything that any team has to throw at them. So I don't know if Allegiance could really throw Optic Gaming off, which means that in my opinion, Optic Gaming is going to be able to beat Allegiance and win this whole entire tournament. Now that was my prediction for the HCS Pro League Qualification LAN 2016. Like I said, it's just a prediction, so it's not fact. I do not know who's going to win this. I obviously can't know who's going to win this because it hasn't even started yet. But if you have any different predictions, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about it. If you like my predictions, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to follow me on Twitter. I hope you have a great day.